The Chicago Bears get great news as Declan Doyle has decided to stay. We got to talk about what that means for the team heading into next year and, of course, what it means for Caleb Williams. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the page. You do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. Make sure that you stay in tune with us, man. Listen, I thought that seeing this news from Diana Rossini was massive for the Chicago Bears. She tweeted this out a couple of hours ago, said Bears OC Declan Doyle has withdrawn his name from consideration for the Eagles offensive coordinator vacancy. Per sources, Doyle opts to remain in Chicago working with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. And I think that that is massive. You don't want to go through a ton of change this offseason. I know a lot of people look at Declan Doyle as kind of the, you know, he's the guy who's calling plays during practice at times, but he's not really the play caller during the game. So if you lose Declan Doyle, it's not that big of a deal. Keeping things the same for Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be very important for this season. And you're doing a lot of that with it seeming like Antoine Randall going to stick around here, keeping Caleb Williams in the building. You're keeping that offensive stability to try and go out there and improve. And I think this says so much to me about a couple of things. Number one, it says a ton about what Caleb Williams brings to the table. You have a quarterback right now that there's a lot of belief in, a lot of belief around. You have a quarterback that it seems like Declan Doyle, by making this decision, in my mind, and what Ben Johnson has talked about, what people have talked about around the league, you have a quarterback that it feels like can become one of the best in football if you get him to that next step. And there's people that want to be a part of that. And I think that that speaks volumes about what the Bears currently have in this room. Of course, what they currently have on offense, but also what they currently have to offer to coaches who could go out there. And this in this role, this is a play calling opportunity. So Declan Doyle would get the opportunity to call his playbook, to install all of his own stuff, to go out there and actually have a, you know, if you succeed in that manner, you have a real opportunity to go get a head coaching job. And yet he took a step back and looks at it and goes, I can learn a lot here with Ben Johnson. I can accomplish a lot here with Caleb Williams. I think that says so much about the staff that you have in the building. I think it says so much about the personnel that you have in the building and the amount of success that it seems like you could get out of this team. And I'll tell you what, like, this is very similar to what we saw Ben Johnson do. Now, Ben Johnson was the play caller, so a little bit different in that sense, but it's very similar to how we saw Ben Johnson go about his time in Detroit, where he said, no, I want to succeed here. I want to do more here. I want to learn more here. I want to get the job done here. And so he stays an extra year, a couple extra years in Detroit, trying to get that job done. I think that that speaks to the organization that you have as well. And to me, that's the bottom line of all of this, where Declan Doyle goes, I could go over there and call plays on my own, have my own offense, have my own situation, my own system that I can go and hopefully be successful in. And by the way, it's a system that it seems like it would be a pretty good offense to call. You still got A.J. Brown in the building, although we don't know how that's going to go, but it seems like you still got A.J. Brown in the building. You've got Jalen Hurts, who's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, who's a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback. You still got Saquon Barkley. You've got what would you assume is a healthier offensive line coming back. Like, you have opportunity to go there and be successful, and yet you chose to remain within the Chicago Bears organization. I think that speaks volumes to the turnaround that we have seen from this Bears team overall, and it gets me very excited about what next year can be. I think that this is going to be massive for Caleb Williams in a couple of different fronts. But first, let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page as well. Let me know how you guys feel. Do you feel like this is a big move, Declan Doyle sticking around here in Chicago? And what do you think it says about the organization that you currently have right now? I'll tell you one thing, though. What it says to me about Caleb Williams is that he's a quarterback now who there's a lot of belief in, as I stated earlier, but now has the opportunity to go out and take advantage of things that we have never seen a quarterback in Chicago have set in front of him. Not only does he have a group of wide receivers that I think are really nice, not only does he have a phenomenal tight end that I think is going to be one of the best tight ends in football moving forward, not only does he have an offensive line in front of him that even with the injury of Ozzie Trapillo, you feel like you still have a lot of good pieces there. Joe Tooney in the middle, Drew Dahlman in the middle, Jonah Jackson in the middle, Darnell Wright on that right side, and you're going to have to lock him up here coming soon, right? And you're going to have to figure out what you're doing at left tackle. I'm not saying that's not something that's going to need to be focused on this offseason, but it is something to me that I think is it's a conversation that we've never had about a quarterback here. Even with Jay, with the offense that he had, where he did have the running game, did have the wide receivers, we questioned the offensive line massively because of how many sacks he had to take. Caleb Williams upped his sack avoidance massively this season. I thought that he did a really good job of keeping himself out of trouble. I thought he did a better job of staying in the pocket and trying to find the guy down the field. What is a second year of that continuity going to look like for Caleb Williams? What's a second year of that continuity in this offense going to look like for Caleb Williams? That's the part where I start to look at this and go, yo, you got a real opportunity to go out here and be incredibly successful in the second year of this thing. It's why I love the fact that Ben Johnson brought in such a pivotal staff, and a staff that Declan Doyle feels he can learn so much more from and become a better coach, become a better offensive coordinator by staying in a second year of this system. Again, there's a lot of guys who would have taken the job and said, you know what? I got an opportunity to go over there and call plays. I get to do things my way. I get to finally prove that it's not just Ben, that it's me. There's a lot of guys that it would have made sense to go out there and do that with, but not Declan Doyle and not the guys that are a part of this staff. I think the one thing that we're seeing, a couple of guys leave, right? We saw We saw Eric Bieniemy go back to Kansas City to be the offensive coordinator there. We have seen him call plays in that capacity, so I guess you kind of understand it from that sense, right? We have also seen Al Harris taking a couple of interviews here, but it seems like how this is going, this has to be a great situation where I know from that situation I'm going to get a head coaching job or have an opportunity to get a head coaching job, or I'm not leaving, because what I have here in Chicago is really good. When have we ever said that about this organization? It speaks to how much the turnover this offseason was really good, how much success this team truly had this offseason. I feel so excited about what the Bears have been able to put together, and I'm very excited as well about what this team could be adding. We talked about Will Lawing possibly coming on, right? He's a favorite to join the Chicago Bears coaching staff. What's that going to look like with him now instituting certain plays in there? I've praised Ben Johnson for this, and I truly think that this is what we've seen all year. It feels like you have that Mike Holmgren style of staff, right? Where you've got John Gruden, you've got Andy Reid on that staff, and you've got all these guys that you can go to, and they have ideas, and they want to show you how to use this guy and where to put this guy, and what if we run this play, and how do we make this happen? That's a great situation to be in, because now you're taking notes from everybody who's in the organization. And I think it shows on top of everything else, right, that Ben Johnson is willing to get help, is willing to divvy up the responsibilities so that he can do his job to the best of his ability and be a really good head coach. That's what I love about hearing this news, man. So glad to have Declan sticking around with Chicago. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down, one love, and make sure that you check out today's episode of The Morning Breeze, man. Me and Jordan JC talked about the conversation around that we saw on Twitter yesterday around should the Bears have gone Drake May over Caleb Williams? Listen in on our thoughts. Give us your thoughts as well, man. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.